Hello and welcome to All the Car You'll Ever Need, also known as the Octavia RS, but this version is the plug-in hybrid, so it says IV on the back. And this version you see today is €43,000. It has a 1.4, 150 brake horsepower turbocharged petrol engine, and then the battery hybrid version brings it up to 245, but you'll have to have it fully charged, or at least some charge in it, to achieve that power. And the question I need to find out in today's video is, should you get this version over the standard 2-litre petrol, which has 245 brake horsepower anyway, and the diesel, which we've already tested on the channel? One obvious difference over the standard car is the charging port, which is here. You can use a wall box to charge it in a little over 4 hours, and that'll get you a range of up to 50 kilometers. You'll get some nice creases over the bonnet, and the rest of the front actually looks like the rest of the RS lineup. Over here though is where you notice the difference, because it sits considerably higher. So the suspension setup is different, and the lowered suspension does help with the performance when you're driving the car. Inside you'll get everything as you have come to expect, including the Skoda umbrella. It's inside. It even bongs and beeps at you. Privacy glass over the back, and the black spoiler also still comes in the car. The same alloy wheels and everything, it just sits higher. Some other good news about the car is only €140 to tax for 12 months. The boot, because you've got batteries going on under here and space for some charging cables, in fairness, means you lose 150 litres off your boot. So where the standard Octavia is 600 litres, that's 450. It's still very good, but it's not as deep, so you do lose a good bit of depth because of that. Grabby handle is still here, and in fact, if you want to check out the review of the standard Octavia, it's up here for you to have a look at, just to kind of browse around the whole car. And I'll go into more detail in the Skoda Octavia in general in that video. In the back of the car, it hasn't been compromised. There's still tons of leg room, 2 USB-C charging ports. You'll fit 2 child seats. You'll get all the things that you'll do in any standard Octavia in there. And in the front, it's also very, very similar. The biggest difference is when it comes to driving, and we'll do that in just a couple of minutes. In here has all the good stuff you've come to expect in an RS model. The seats, the steering wheel, the shortcut buttons are here. The nice backlit displays that you can change colours of. This one is green because we're trying to save the planet with the charging, of course. Your big screen is here. It's not as reliant on the slidey option here, and there are a few more shortcut buttons compared to with some of its Volkswagen Group cousins. The armrest still slides. USB is still up here for the dash cam. It's all similar, and this car actually has wireless charging. So for €43,000, you're getting blind spot, all the kind of nice toys that you'd want when you're spending that money. This car also has a heated steering wheel, which if you're trying to save on climate control, fuel, you can stick that on, your heated seats on, and hope your windows don't steam up. And yes, you can program the car to charge and be warm and all those things for you on a daily basis. Individual diaries you can set up. So it's really, really clever in that front. Believe it or not, there's full EVs in the market that you can't time charging with and plan departure times, but even in this plug-in hybrid version of the Octavia, you can do all that. So in here, again, I've no complaints. And again, if you want more details about all the interior buttons, what does what, check out the other 250,000 people who have checked out my video of the standard Octavia in 2-litre diesel form. And shout out to everyone watching in India. I hope you're well, because a lot of people in India comment on the video of that car. Octavias and Skodas in general are just huge interest to people on YouTube. So wherever you're watching around the world, feel free to leave a comment below. And while you're there, if you'd like to support us with a Patreon subscription of €5 a month to support what is a fully independent channel, €5 a month, wouldn't even get you 2 coffees. That's one of the ways you can support us, and there's loads of links in the description down below. So let's start with the positives. The switch between petrol or electric mode, that there's no sort of clunk. It's all very seamless the majority of the time. And if you want a quick getaway from a set of traffic lights, as nippy as electric engines are, you just kind of need to put it into the full-on hybrid mode and let it do its magic, because if you're just in EV mode, there's just not enough power to then call this an RS. Thankfully, you can quickly do that by pressing the hybrid button with your shortcut to mode, and then it kicks into life. It does go around a bend, but not like the standard petrol or diesel version of the car. And the extra height that this car is off the ground, because it hasn't got the lowered suspension, the extra weight in the boot, it all just feels a bit as you push on into a corner. The brakes, I don't think, bite the same way that, for example, the Golf GTI does. And it just makes me keep coming back to that question of, is it actually deserving of an RS badge, or should you think of it as just a really nice Octavia with all the extras that's easier and cheaper to run? Because I don't think it's a full-on RS version. A little bit of torque steer if you pull away with both power sources activated. It does some clever stuff though. It will use the sat-nav to work out what's ahead and can potentially switch between motor petrol and motor battery based on what's up ahead on the road. That's pretty clever. Fuel efficiency, you are talking somewhere between 2 and 3 litres per 100 kilometres if you keep it topped up with charge. And talking about the electric consumption, it's about 12 to 13 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. That's how they measure it. It can be confusing. But for example, an ID3 would be somewhere around 19 on winterish days. There can sometimes be a little bit of a lag when you accelerate if you're in proper hybrid mode, and it's like, okay, you want more power? Grand, I'll give that to you
How can
now.
I help?
That lovely lady still randomly comes on. I'm okay, thanks. No, I'm grand. Cheers. Cheers.
One moment, please.
No, I'm okay. No.
An error has occurred. To start voice control again, please press the push to talk button.
No, I'm all good. So she randomly pops up from time to time. But overall, it is a very smooth car. It's an efficient car. And if this wasn't an RS version, I'd be telling you that it's really great, it's cheap to run, and just go ahead and buy it. But the fact that I've already driven even the diesel version of the RS, I know what that's like to drive, and that's where I'm kind of struggling with it to recommend it as an actual RS. And it shoots a bit wide on corners. It's not as hunkered down, and you can feel that. You will get between 40 and 50 kilometers from a charge if you're driving in sort of city, urban environments, because that's what I've been doing. If you take the car into the motorway, it won't last as long. That's just what happens. That happens with any kind of vehicle that has a battery to make it move. So to sum up, as a plug-in hybrid, I'm convinced. As an RS plug-in hybrid, I think the standard petrol or standard diesel versions are the better cars to drive. And when you have an RS badge up the front, it's only going to be the people who will want that driving experience I'm talking about who will want an RS. So I just think you're better off getting the standard hybrid version of the car, and even the RS for the purists. The other thing to bear in mind is the standard Octavia RS is just so good. Anything that's slightly flawed in terms of performance, in a comparison anyway, it just highlights how good the other standard car is. And equally, if you wanted something like the 1.5 petrol in the standard Octavia, this does look better, there's no doubt about it, but that's a cracking car as well. I think that's probably why the plug-in hybrid IV version of the RS is just almost a victim of the Octavia's success in general. Thank you very much for watching the video review of the Octavia plug-in hybrid, the RS version today. If you have a comment or a question about it, that's what the comment section is for. Maybe like the video and share it if you've enjoyed watching it. It would be amazing to get to 20,000 subscribers, so if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And I will see you on the next one.